go. All right. We are live. What is going on, everybody? This is Randall Thor, 19, Man with the Million, back again with another episode of the Xbox 2 podcast. And we have a metric ton of stuff to talk about. But first, as the phone rings again, jeez, I always get bad timing with the phone, but I need to introduce Jez Corden, my buddy from Windows Central. How's it going?
Not so bad. A lot of stress at this time of year, as you can imagine. It's the biggest time of year. Huge amount of traveling and a lot of 250 emails a day at the minute. And having to tell people, sorry, my calendar's full. It's the first year, but I haven't had to beg for meetings. It's the first year. Well, I didn't go to E3 last year, to be fair, but the year before, I had to beg for meetings and be like, please, can I see your game, please?
This is little Jazz. Can I please see Cyberpunk? And they're like, okay.
No, to be fair, CD Projekt Red have always been amazing. Like, even when we were tiny, CD Projekt Red was always super supportive. But some of the bigger players, it was so hard to get noticed. And now this year, it's like I'm having to turn companies away. It's like makes me sad. And I said to myself this year, I'm only going to book a few meetings so that I don't die from work, but I have meetings every half hour for 4 days.
So even though E3 is fun, I had so much fun when I went in 2016. For you, it's work.
Oh yeah,
for you, it's
hardcore
work.
Hardcore.
Yeah. And you know what? I saw somebody in chat saying, "Man of Million, what?" Right? And you know what? I've actually had a lot of people ask me that lately, and I always got to explain it. New people always, subscribe to the channel. They don't know what that means. Basically, it means, I've what's the word? Accrued or stockpiled, I guess. Achieved more than 1 million gamer score. So it was just something somebody said to me back in the TXR podcast days. Kind of stuck, and I use it as an intro. Although maybe I probably should drop that. Maybe I should just say, "Hey guys, Rand here." No need to say that anymore, or maybe I just need to get an intro, like a visible intro.
But yeah, live through the power of the internet.
Yeah, no, that's already taken by Boogie. We can't do that. Right. We can't do that. But
I don't know any of this. He's the only one that can remember, so it must be a good one.
I mean, Jez Corden's the man with the 100,000, right?
Yeah, I got 100,000 recently. Damn.
Yeah, without completing or getting completion on any Xbox game ever.
I haven't fully completed one. I had my closest one is Mass Effect 1, and I got all of them except the insane difficulty, and I got stuck on Benezia on insane difficulty, and I just thought, you know what, I can't do it anymore. It's driving me crazy. That fight on insane difficulty is just broken. It's broken. At least it was with the build I was running.
Dude, we have so much stuff to talk about. Breaking news earlier today, Jazz. Breaking news.
We didn't do it yesterday, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely. I asked you if you wanted to do it Wednesday or Thursday, because I always do. And you're like, let's do it Thursday. And sure enough, good choice, because it seems like when we want to do it Wednesday, something happens. Like what happened last week or the week before? Oh, it was Sony and Microsoft making that deal, right?
Yeah, someone on the chat just mentioned man with 1 million sips of whiskey, so I'm gonna break out some whiskey today.
There you go. But breaking news today: Microsoft finally announced Xbox Game Pass on PC. Their plans for it, but then also said basically, all the games are coming to Steam, starting with Gears 5, and they're gonna bring a bunch of games to Steam, and pretty much every Xbox game will be on Steam going forward. Big news. We'll be talking about that. That's Stranding. Watch the trailer. I put out a video. Me and Jazz has some things to say about that. Our Xbox. This is our Xbox E3 2019 preview show.
It is.
I did a video. Jez did a article just released today. You guys should go check it out. But we're going to talk about what we expect to see at this year's Xbox show, right? 2 hours long, supposedly. I'd say it's more about an hour 50 or an hour and 50 minutes. I don't think it'll run the full exactly 2 hours, but I think it'll be their longest and biggest ever. They have a lot to show. It says, yeah, Rand, you should definitely change Man of 1 Million Achievements because you're full pony now. Change it to Man of Trophies. I don't care about trophies. Trophies might as well not exist on PlayStation. The only thing that matters is gamer score and achievements.
I don't think I even have a trophy yet.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Call of Duty Modern Warfare. All that good stuff. I mean, tons of things to talk about. Gears 5 release date. Like from Marcus himself. Crazy stuff. But before we get going, I'd ask everybody, hey, we got 300 people in here already. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Share this out wherever you share things, whether it's Twitter or Facebook. And if you're new here, if it's your first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. But before we get into the topics, gotta talk about the games we played. Most important thing about video games are the games. I like talking about the games we played before we get into the topic list. Jez, what have you played this past week?
Not a whole lot new. I've been very, very busy with work, so I've just been playing Minecraft here and there. I'm building Helm's Deep. As you know, it's going to take months. What I've got planned is going to take months. But I feel good about it. And it's the first time that I went into the nether in Minecraft, and I realized I'm years late to that party. But my God, was it stressful. Have you ever been to the nether in Minecraft?
Yes, I have. I actually been to the nether in Minecraft, yes.
That is a stressful place. There's pitfalls, there's lava, there's flying ghost things that shoot fireballs, and all sorts of crazy stuff. But yeah, I went there, and it was fun with my brother. It was a really great time. Other than that, I finally hit World Tier 5 in the Division. Finally. So we're trying to get 8 people together to do the raid because there's no matchmaking. There's no matchmaking on the raid.
Yeah, I know. And people were upset about that, right?
But when you are my age, or our age, I should say, in a full-time job, and all of your friends have full-time jobs and kids, getting 8 people together is really hard. With no matchmaking, it's so hard. So like, I don't think that's ever going to happen unless they add matchmaking or they have like
Xbox has this handy thing called LFG.
It does actually. Maybe we could use that.
Yeah, they implemented that a while back. Kind of worked out considering the Destiny 1 and 2 didn't have matchmaking for raids. I think they might have matchmaking for raids now and 2. I'm not sure. I haven't played 2 in a while. I actually uninstalled both Destiny games. Never playing another Destiny game ever again. Destiny 3, they can announce Destiny 3. It could look like the greatest thing of all time. I am not playing it. I'm done.
I said that after Destiny 1, and I still ended up getting Destiny 2.
I'm done. They like fooled me once. Shame on me. No, fool me once, shame on you. No, how's the saying go?
No,
I can't remember the saying now.
Fool me once, shame on you, because you made a mistake. No. See, I got it wrong now, but I'm drinking, so it's fair. Yeah. Fool me once, shame on you, Bungie, for tricking me. Fool me twice, shame on me, because I was dumb enough to be fooled by it.
And I ain't getting fooled again. I'm done with Destiny, and Bungie used to be my favorite developer.
So I'm on the second one right now. They fool me twice, shame on me. So if they fool me thrice, I don't know what happens then. What happens then when he's fooled me?
I don't know. Chat. What happens when you get fooled 3 times, thrice? Who's at fault there? But I'm done. They used to be my favorite developer. I mean, they made my favorite franchise, Halo, and I can't get into Destiny. But yeah. So is it just Division and some Minecraft? Anything else?
No, honestly, that's it. No, that's it. I helped my girlfriend kill a boss in Super Mario Brothers Deluxe on the Switch. So that's it. I'm sure there must be something else I've played this week. I remember off the top of my head, I remember thinking, oh, I'll talk about it on the podcast, but I can't even remember what it was now. I swear, this week has been just nuts. Just so crazy. Like this morning when they broke that news about the Xbox Game Pass for PC thing, I was like literally 5 minutes from going live on stream. So I had to drop what I was doing. Me and Matt got up 3 articles really quick. We were one of the first websites to do it. Because I mean, I saw a few people teasing there was going to be an announcement, and Brad Sam sounded like he was preparing to leak it. And like then Microsoft jumped on it and did it first. And then but then as soon as we got the articles up, the site went down for 2 hours.
What? Yeah, Windows Central went down for 2 hours. You got to talk to your whoever hosts your website on that one.
Apparently they got
some traffic.
Yeah, they're getting hacked, DDoS or something for some other website on our ISP is getting attacked by hackers right now, and it's taken out everything apparently. So there's that. Oh, and I've been back on World of Warcraft round. I'm
Of
sorry.
course you have. Of course you have.
Sorry, man.
Isn't
I'm
like
sorry.
World of Warcraft Classic out or something like that?
World of Warcraft Classic's coming out in August, I think. I have no idea why anyone wants to play it, but nostalgia's a hell of a drug, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
World of Warcraft Classic was straight up broken. Yeah, like and like if anyone here in the chat is probably gonna be like, oh no, Classic was better. Classic was better. They didn't play Classic as much as I played it. Okay, I played that shit hardcore. I played that hardcore. World of Warcraft Classic was broken, man. The whole specs that just weren't viable. There were damage rotations that literally consisted of pressing one button. You raid for 4 hours pressing one button. Do you remember how boring? Can you imagine how boring that is? I knew people who bound their World of Warcraft damage rotation to their mouse wheel, so they could literally scroll to deal damage and just stand there scrolling the wheel. They didn't even have to click. So yeah, Classic was not good.
Classic was not good.
But people really want it though. It's gonna be See, there's people in the chat now. Well, Classic was way better than Modern WoW. It's hot garbage. You're wrong. You are wrong. And it is what it is, But they're still working on Modern WoW too. So there's a new raid dungeon coming out soon, and we're gonna sort that out. I'm gonna kill some new bosses. I have to keep coming back to it because, believe it or not, Rand, my biggest article of 2019 is about World of Warcraft this year so far. Actually,
Really?
no. Actually, no. The Xbox One Sad Edition name leak is the biggest. World of Warcraft's the second biggest. So I have to write about that game now, which is so weird.
Yeah, every time I kind of always zone out when you talk about World of Warcraft. I just hear the stuff from like the Peanuts, like like it just goes one in one ear out the other. I just don't care. I just don't
That's
care about World
because
of Warcraft.
you don't know a good game when you see it, Ran. That's your problem.
Yeah. I mean that's true. That's what people
You
tell
only
me all
like
the time.
you only like walking simulators.
Yeah,
That's your
that's exactly true. That's the only thing I like. I only like walking sims. But
yeah, he likes walking sims.
so what have I played?
Yeah.
Not really much. I'm kind of in a gaming funk. Didn't like Days Gone that much. It didn't really care for Rage 2 that much. I really liked Plague's Tale. I played Void Bastards this week. Have a video up for anybody that wants to watch it. It's on Xbox Game Pass Day 1, which is great. I wanted to like the game because it looks so good. It looks like a comic book come to life. But I just don't care for the roguelite procedurally generated genre. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it in like short bursts sometimes. Like I really like Dead Cells, for example, but at the same time, I get like burnt out really easily. Like I was really enjoying Everspace. I like space games, but the roguelike stuff just it gets boring somehow. I don't know. It's hard.
Well,
It's
it's
hard
like
to
I
put
was
on it.
enjoying Void Bastards for the first couple hours. Like it was kind of cool. Like the drive to like explore, get materials, upgrade your weapons, build new stuff. And then it was always like the goal is to basically reach these parts and you're supposed to like kind of like escape the nebula. But it just became that you're like, okay, you get the parts and now you gotta get something new. So you gotta jump a whole bunch of different spaces and get these parts. And I eventually got to like pretty close to the end and I died a few times and at that point I was just like, I don't care anymore. It's not my type of game. If it was, I'd probably love it. I see some reviews where people are like, this game's amazing because I love the genre it's in. So if you like roguelites and procedurally generated stuff, you might really like Void Bastards. And I see Saltiest Gaming in chat. He said Outer Wilds, not to be confused with Outer Worlds, getting good scores too. That also came out in Game Pass. So if you're looking for games to play, you can check those out if you're a subscriber. But man, I just want to say thanks everybody for showing up today. Like 450 already in chat. A lot of people here: Hyper Light Drifter, DJ Singh, Saltiest Gaming, Sam Tolbert, TJ Guyver. Man, I just like scroll through and see all the names, and I'm just always extremely happy and blessed that a bunch of people want to show up and listen to me and Jez talk about video games for whatever reason. It's crazy.
I love our community that we're building up on this channel. It's like these are the good people that make me not hate my job.
Yeah.
Like it's like sometimes when like my articles get posted on Reddit or Reddit or wherever, like, and some people link me the comments like, "Oh, look what these people are saying about you." It makes me really hate my job. But then like I come on Twitter and like nice people follow me there and you guys in the chat and makes all the pain worth it. And
Yeah.
dude, I'm already a little bit drunk because I'm on an empty stomach and I think this whiskey bottle's been
Well, good.
sitting there
We need
for a
junk.
really long
We need
time.
junk Drez because we got a lot to talk about. But yeah, so Gunstar, he always stalks me every week, asking me if there's going to be a podcast. I see you, Pat. Man, what's up, Smooth? I watched your video earlier, your stream. What is Xbox? Smooth doesn't like the idea of Xbox games going to Steam. He's not a fan of that, which I knew. You know, and I've been kind of hinting to Smooth lately. I'm like, get used to the idea, kid. Wink, wink, because it's happening. Get used to the idea because it's going to happen. Shout out to James listening to the show all the way at Redmond. You never know who's listening to the show. So, yeah, Void Bastards, check it out if you got Game Pass. I did play a round of Hunt Showdown on a game preview. Didn't really care for it, but I haven't put out a video yet because, well, I'd be a fraud if I put out a video talking about a game that I played for 12 minutes and only played one round. And I'm not a fraud. There are other people out there that might put out reviews for games after playing for 12 minutes or an hour, but I'm not one of them. So I'm going to go, and if I still have any desire to actually play some, Hunt Showdown, maybe get a couple more hours in, I'll put out a video.
What did you think of that game? Because like I got a key for Hunt Showdown. I've installed it, but I haven't tried it yet.
It doesn't look good on Xbox at all. Like, I know it's a looker on PC. Whew, it does not look good on the Xbox. Wow. Like, I was kind of shocked by how bad it looks, and Crytek usually makes good looking games. But I don't know, like, it's just like you can either play solo with a friend. So I played it with my buddy Mr. Black Magic. You spawn in the 2 teams of 5. The goal is to like find these clues. You find 3 of the clues, and they lead you to this monster, like a butcher you have to kill. And you kill the butcher, and then you got to extract, right? But you can get killed by any time by any of like the zombies around. So it's like a mixture of PvE versus PvP. So I don't know. I just didn't care for it. The aiming was kind of crappy. It looked kind of crappy. There's like an element of there's supposed to be tense because like you can lose your if you die in the game, you lose that character, that hunter you built up, and you lose the weapons that you have for him. Which so it's supposed to add to the tenseness of it, but they turn that off for the first like 16 levels. But yeah, I have to play it some more before I can really form an opinion on it. But first impressions, don't really care for it. But so that's it. In a gaming funk, kind of turn on the Xbox late at night, and I just like I don't know what to play. I don't know what to play. But hopefully that'll change soon. So let's delve into some of these topics. And I figure a good starting point will be Death Stranding. Because I think this is going to be pretty interesting. Because I know there's going to be a really split opinion. Like I know Saltiest Gaming in chat. He thinks Kojima's a hack. And he made a video making fun of Death Stranding where he put the scene where the guys were running away, and with the Benny Hill music, right? So
that's mean.
So there is that sense of like people are like, this looks like shit, garbage, right? I put out a video and I am excited for the game, Jazz. I am excited because it's different. And yeah, I don't know everything about the game, like we do with Call of Duty Modern Warfare or whatever. But there's something exciting about the unknown because as I said in my video, like I look at Call of Duty Modern Warfare and I know exactly what to expect from that game. I look at Gears 5 and I know exactly what to expect from Gears. I look at Borderlands 3. You know what you're getting. My point is, you know what you're getting with a lot of these games. there's a cookie cutter mentality to the AAA video game industry. Nobody really wants to take risks. Everybody kind of sticks to the same formula. Kojima, whether it's because of his pedigree or Sony giving him creative freedom, seems like he just created a weird game with like a screwed up sci-fi setting, right? Where you're pulling 80-foot ladders out of a backpack where you can actually just pee on command and all these different things. Like, so I'm watching that trailer and I'm just like, you know what? This is so weird and so different. I'm into it, dude. I'm excited. November 8th, I'm there. What do you think, Jez?
Man, I'm a huge Kojima fanboy. Like, it's hard to really put into words how much reverence I have for his games. Like, Metal Gear Solid 1 was, it was just incredible at the time. Like, I never experienced anything like it. It's so memorable. And I think, like, one of the things Kojima does really well is making his games memorable. Like, a lot of the games that you play nowadays, they just ain't really memorable because they're developed with telemetry in mind, and they're developed with like telemetry is like hurting games, I think, because like developers look at a game and see like, oh, people didn't use this feature, let's cut it out. But Kojima's like, no, leave it in, because even if you don't use those weird gadgets and those weird features he puts in his games, it gives you, even if you just use it once, it makes the game more memorable. Like Metal Gear Solid 5, Metal Gear Solid 4. I remember there was a whole cutscene dedicated in Metal Gear Solid 4 to this like steel drum with rusty holes in it, and it was like, oh, you can roll around in this drum, and you can roll down a hill in this drum, and it was like the weirdest, most random feature that I could ever imagine being put in a game. But it's all those little things that make his games memorable, and it's just the sort of the Kojima feeling, it makes the world feel like it has depth, and it makes the world feel a bit more believable, even if it's stuff you don't click on, And this, I've used this argument for like Mass Effect 2, as well, because like in Mass Effect, EA released some data a while ago where it was like, oh well, only 30% of people played Renegade. So like, in EA's mind, the telemetry is telling them it's not worth us including a Renegade path. But the thing is, the fact that you had a Renegade path added weight to your Paragon choices, because it's like, I chose this decision and now it's more memorable. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Kojima gets that bit of game development, which I feel like is being lost in a sea of data. And Microsoft is so guilty of this, where they look at telemetry and think like, we should remove this because not many people are using it. Where like just the knowledge that it's there makes it better sometimes. And Kojima has that fine art appreciation for the details and character building and all that sort of stuff. And all of his games are memorable to me. Like, even I hated Metal Gear Solid 5, but like it's like that's Konami's fault. Like, you get to a point in Metal Gear Solid 5 where you can just tell Konami pulled the plug, and it's really sad, And I feel like Kojima's been given creative freedom here, like to do basically whatever he wants. And I know that when Kojima's given freedom, we get good stuff. Like, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is a masterpiece. I think it's not my favorite game ever made, but I think it might be one of the best games ever made.
Gunstar says in Super Chat, Kojima could pass the ozone hole with his ego. He's got a big ego. He's a big creative.
He deserves a big ego. He's a genius.
So there was something that on the website they talked about, like different things. They explained the game more. And Slow-Mo in chat says, I like how it said killing your enemies isn't always the best solution. Kind of reminds me of Undertale. I really like that fact too, right? That killing your enemies always isn't the best and never really is. So there might be some elements of stealth. Now, I saw somebody in chat saying that, oh, what about Days Gone or Spider-Man? Those aren't cookie cutter because they're Sony. No, those two games are cookie cutter as well. Spider-Man, like Days Gone was exactly what I expected from it, and it was very mediocre. Spider-Man was exactly what I thought Spider-Man was going to be. It just was a really good game though. So I'm just saying, when you watch a trailer, like for the Call of Duty, because we'll talk about Call of Duty in a bit, like I know exactly what I'm going to get with this Call of Duty game. You know what you're going to get. You played, 15 Call of Duty games at this point? You know what you're getting with Call of Duty. You're going to play Gears 5. You know what Gears 5 is going to bring. We played these games. And there's a sense of just, that sameness permeating through. So when I see Death Stranding, it's like, okay, it's so crazy. I'm totally in for it. And you know what? This is going to bother a lot of people. And I'm not saying it's going to be my game of the year, but I'm going to go on a limb and say it's going to win game of the year because people love game journalists who vote on that award are going to give that game good and it's going to they're going to give that game good scores. It's going to be nominated and it's going to win. So a lot of people may be shocked right now. I'm telling you, unless the game is just like complete garbage when it comes out, like it doesn't work or it's just like this huge like troll or something, right? But don't be surprised if that game is nominated for Game of the Year, especially with Last of Us supposedly being delayed to 2020. It's wide open. It's completely wide open. I don't think there's a big Nintendo game this year.
Pokemon.
Pokemon ain't winning no Game of the Year award, Jazz.
You don't know.
Pokemon ain't winning nothing, okay?
What if Kojima was consulting on the new Pokemon and it was actually like Kojima-fied Pokemon?
No.
And it had like a subversive
There's no Zelda, there's no Mario, I don't think, for Switch this year. I don't unless I'm mistaken. I don't really know much about.
There is a Zelda for this year.
There is a Zelda. Okay.
The remake of is it the first Zelda? Like they've sort of remastered the first Zelda game. The 2D.
I don't know. I don't see. This is the thing. This is why I don't talk about Nintendo very much on my channel because I don't know anything that's going on with Nintendo. It's kind of like when you watch certain people do Xbox predictions who clearly have no idea what's going on with Xbox. Like I watched a guy who said that Halo Infinite was going to come out this year in his predictions. Excuse me? Have you been paying attention to what's going on at Xbox?
Yeah, people called me out yesterday because I said they had that Pokemon press conference, right? And I was like, oh my god, they didn't talk about Sword and Switch, Sword and Shield, and they were like, oh, they're doing that next week. But I didn't know that because I weren't paying attention so much to that because it's not my job. I don't cover Nintendo, so
yeah, I don't care about Nintendo, so I'm not up on the Nintendo stuff. But I'm just saying it's funny to see people want to reach a bigger audience, and they'd be like Xbox E3 predictions, and you listen to it, and it's just like, does this guy know anything about Xbox? Even I listened to Podcasts Unlocked a little bit. Ryan McCaffrey has it, and outside of him, the panel he had, you could tell. I don't think they've turned on an Xbox in years. It was hard to listen to, It was really hard to listen to. But yeah, back to Death Stranding. So that's why I'm excited for the game.
I'm just this trailer was the first time that I actually became properly excited for the game. And I felt like it sort of gave us a lot of people said like, I still don't get what's going on, but it's you get more of an idea of what's going on now, especially if you couple it up with the information they put on their website and stuff like that. Like it's got asynchronous multiplayer. It's basically it's another open world stealth game sort of. And like there will be combat and all that sort of stuff. And you can just if you're familiar with Kojima's work, it's easy to put it on faith, If you care about Kojima's old stuff, it's easier to put a lot of that stuff on faith,
Yeah.
And I'm totally willing to put a Kojima game on faith, I trust the guy, and I really like the art in his games and the character delivery and the cinematography and everything. Like his games are just a work of art, and like you say, it's something different,
Yeah. Well, shout out to Snazzy Crowd 1212 for the super chat. Appreciate it, man. But yeah, so like here's the thing. I always give my opinions about stuff, right? And they're mine. I don't like fake anything. I'm not fake, So when I say I'm excited for it, take that for what it's worth.
I'm too dumb to
but I'll be the first. Look, if I play Death Stranding and it's bad, I'll be the first one to say it's bad. Like, just because I'm excited for something doesn't mean I won't trash it later. I'm not that type of person. But I just wanted to give my reasons why I watched that trailer, and I'm excited to play it on November 8th. It's something different at a time where I currently feel I'm in a gaming funk. Maybe part of that has to do with me being in a gaming funk. Maybe if I wasn't, I'd look at Death Stranding and be like, it's overrated. But currently, right now, it's like nothing really exciting me. The last few games I played outside of Plague's Tale were just average at best, right? But it's funny because people call me a Sony stan, like an undercover PlayStation fan, and yet I don't like Days Gone at all. Yeah, sure, I enjoyed God of War and Spider-Man and stuff, but like Days Gone was. Ugh. I forced myself to beat that game and spend 50 hours into it. I wanted to drop that game after 10 hours. I was ready to make a video destroying Days Gone because it wasn't that good. But it is what it is. So Death Stranding, can't wait to see what it actually is on November 8th. Smooth says Kojima's overrated. And look, I understand why people have that. Like, a lot of people do not like Kojima, and a lot of people do not like this trailer and don't like the game. And I understand. I get it, man. I completely understand. Like, here's the thing: you don't see me going into your Twitter mentions if you're tweeting, I think Death Stranding looks like garbage. Who cares about this? You don't see me tweeting you being like, you're wrong, because that's your opinion. I'm fine with mine. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm perfectly happy with my opinion, and I don't let others' opinions affect how I feel about something. I like Death Stranding. It doesn't matter to me that other people who say they don't like it. It doesn't affect me one bit. I'm not going to go and tell you why you should like it. But man, I made that video, and sure enough, within seconds, I had people on Twitter being like really upset at the idea that I liked it. But you don't see, I mean, I don't know. It's like, I literally made a video about Gears 5 and how it could be Game of the Year candidate. Nobody says anything about me standing hard for Gears or Microsoft, right? But the second I say I kind of like Death Stranding, boom, here comes the incoming, stupid shit. It's like, well, you didn't say anything about Gears 5.
No, it's just not about me for some reason.
I've constantly said, what's my you should know this, and maybe most of the people in chat here will as well. What's my most anticipated game for this entire year, and has been this entire year? Ori 2. Ori 2. My most anticipated game. And I said even in that video, if Ori 2 and Death Stranding are coming out the same day, I'm playing Ori 2. I think Ori 2 is going to be a better game. I think Ori 2 is going to be nominated for Game of the Year. I don't see anybody saying anything against that. Like, oh, nobody's telling me, slow your roll, Rand. Calm down. You haven't played Ori 2, so you need to hold back on the hype. Who are you to tell me that? Who are you to tell me what I can or cannot say on my own YouTube channel? Come on. All right, moving on. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. So it's coming out October 25th. I've been told, and it looks like it's going to be true, that it's basically, no more Russian, the level for Modern Warfare 2, but as an entire game. And the big news to me, like, yeah, another Call of Duty, not a surprise, is coming out. The campaign's back, which means I will buy this one. I didn't buy Black Ops 4 because it didn't have a campaign. This one has a campaign. I will buy it and I will play it. I don't care about the multiplayer. I've never cared about the multiplayer in a Call of Duty game. I don't care. I play Call of Duty for the campaign. I know I'm weird. Sue me. Right? But has crossplay at launch between consoles and PC, presumably Xbox, PS4, and PC. Dauntless just came out and has crossplay at launch between Xbox, PS4, and PC. And they even have icons for each platform you're playing on, so you know if they're on PC and all that stuff.
Yep.
Is the crossplay dam about to break? Or is it like now officially open for business? Because with Call of Duty having crossplay between consoles, I think anything's possibility at this point.
I think like it still feels like it's only the big players who seem to be able to chip down this wall yet. Like it still feels like there are probably some clauses in the licensing for smaller games where they can't seem to cut through it. Because wasn't there a smaller game where there were a smaller game dev recently who was saying we wanted to add crossplay, but Sony wouldn't make it happen for us, you know? And they were basically calling them out for the double standard of doing it for Fortnite, but not them. I can't remember who it was now, so I apologize for that. But do you remember what I'm talking about?
What?
There was a smaller dev who was
Wargroove, wasn't it?
Yeah, okay, there you go. So Wargroove was calling out Sony for not allowing them to have crossplay. I mean, so I think like it's still going to be restricted to bigger devs for the time being, but it does feel like eventually it's going to become too ridiculous for them to not just support everyone. But it's annoying because I just bought one of my siblings an Xbox so we could play together, and now they're going to be able to play with me on their Xbox, on their PlayStation. Damn it. Money wasted.
Crossplay is the thing. I saw the post by Dauntless where they said 60% of all the parties made in Dauntless were of crossplay.
See, that's a point. Dauntless is a smaller game, but they got crossplay, so maybe it's going down.
Well, no, so this is the thing with Dauntless. It's published by Epic.
Oh, really?
There's currently 3 games on PlayStation that have full crossplay with Xbox and PS4. 2 of them happen to be published by Epic. So it's no. I mean, I think it's developed by somebody else. I think Phoenix Labs, but it's published by Epic, and they clearly have the political maneuverings to make Sony bend the knee. Is that what Sony bend the knee to crossplay? But yeah, now that Call of Duty is supposedly doing it, I can imagine like all the big the Battlefields because look at you're already hearing Battlefield 5 is removing modes because there's not enough players. Like they're removing front lines and domination. They had to remove duos from Firestorm.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And that's basically because not enough people are playing Battlefield 5 because not a lot of people bought Battlefield 5. But if you combine the user base of Xbox and PlayStation, well, you wouldn't necessarily have to remove those modes.
I like. I'm reviewing the Division 2 at the minute, and I realize I'm a couple of months late on this, but I really wanted to get into the end game and like do the game properly instead of just rush through it in 20 hours and be like, yeah, it's good, or at least it seems good, because so much of what the Division is the service and the end game stuff. And in the Division 2, you have to progress through the world tiers to get to the real end game. And to progress to the world tiers, you have to do like all the missions on each world tier, or at least a couple of missions and then a stronghold. If you try matchmaking for this stuff on the different world tiers, it only pulls you with people who are also on that world tier. There's nobody bloody doing it. If you're behind the curve, because everyone's on world tier 5 already who is still playing it. So like if you're behind the curve, you can't find anyone to do that stuff. And like crossplay would help solve that problem because there'd be a bigger pool of gamers. You know. So I think like for the industry to grow and evolve, crossplay has to be a thing. You know, because the amount of players it's gameplay. You know, you wouldn't have been able to have games like Battle Royale with 100 players if there was no one playing it. And we've seen like other Battle Royale games totally flop because no one was playing it. Like Cliffy B's Battle Royale. Can't remember.
Yeah, the Radical Heights game. Yeah. I mean, I've always said crossplay is more about helping out developers realistically for their games than it benefits like Xbox or PlayStation. Like and with Dauntless publishing their stats, it's like I know a lot of people always go around and say, well, who really cares about crossplay? You don't really see much about it. But the people that care about crossplay aren't really talking on Twitter or making YouTube videos. And clearly people want it because 60% of parties made were crossplay. So people want to play with their friends. And I think we're at this point now in the industry where they just want the walls to come down. And if you want to play an Xbox, you can play an Xbox. If you want to play in PlayStation, you can play in PlayStation, but you're going to play together. And they've been fighting for this, and that's what it looks like it's going to happen. Now, as for Call of Duty Modern Warfare itself, do you like the idea of this being no more Russian, a level where the infamous Modern Warfare 2 level where you go through an airport and kill innocent people because you're undercover? I've been told, and it looks like it's true from the people reporting on the game, that they basically built a whole game out of that. I
I'm down.
I just wonder if that's crossing a line. Like, am I going to see on October 25th when this game comes out a segment on Fox News with Tucker Carlson talking about how Call of Duty is turning our our young boys and girls into terrorist sympathizers because it has scenes where you have to kill innocent people, you know? Because we already have the government looking into video games like the loot box stuff. The guy from Congress writing a bill which would ban loot boxes or heavily regulate them. Like, there's the thing about the government: you allow them to get in, they'll get in, and then they'll take a part of what they want, and you don't want that. So it's like, while I would appreciate like some fine storytelling, uh, but like, I don't know, like, I hear about some of the stuff with Call of Duty, and I'm just like, yikes, dude, yikes. Like, if there's a scene where you're killing people and you're running people over because you need to, like, stay undercover, and you're just killing innocent people, I don't know how that's gonna go over. Like, that kind of worries me to a certain degree, that the game will just be politicized, and then come October, it'll just be used for political fodder, which is not something I want to see whatsoever. Any thoughts on that?
Hang on a sec, Rand. I've just got to sort something out. See, this is what I'm talking about when like work is just crazy at E3.
Oh.
But I just got hit with a message. But like, were you talking about the controversy about using that no Russian level or whatever?
Yeah. So basically, I was told before this game came out that that it would basically be no more Russian the level, but as an entire game. And I am not in favor of censorship whatsoever. I also don't want to see games get censored because the government is forced to step in. Like, we live in a very political. I don't know what to say.
Triggered politically time. Everyone's triggered right now.
I mean, I'm going to play it regardless, and maybe they tell a great story. But I'm just there's a part of me that's concerned. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to see video games get regulated by the government.
They should tread carefully because they could bring some kind of hammer down. Like, I know, like, it's especially, I mean, not even in America. Like, it's particularly sensitive in Europe. Like Gunstar just said in chat, German games are massively censored. They're less censored now than they have been in the past, but there's still a strong sentiment in Germany that shooters cause violence. There's a really, really strong sentiment in this country about that, But and especially like all the terrorist stuff that's been happening in Europe and all that sort of stuff, like to glorify or gamify that in any way could bring about a massive backlash. And for me, I'm all for it. Let me kill all the civilians in a video game. I'm not about censorship at all, but I'm just saying, like, Activision has a responsibility as a massive publisher with one of the biggest platforms in the form of Call of Duty. They have a responsibility not to screw up the whole industry just because they want to have some controversial press. And they love that controversial press. They loved it when they released the no Russian level before, and they're going to love it again this time around as well. They love it. They love the controversy. But like EA with the whole loot boxes thing, EA pushed too far on the loot boxes. They put it into a core Star Wars franchise, and now you've got governments getting involved trying to regulate things. Activision could do the same thing, and like Renat in 22 says in chat, Generation Snowflake, And everyone's a snowflake. It's like that isn't an indictment of either side. All sides are snowflakes right now, and like everyone thinks like their way is the best way. And if there are political points to be scored out of anything, people want to do it these days, and they will. And if Activision makes this too dodgy, they will try and score political points on this. Yeah. Everyone will.
I like what Sam Tolbert had to say in chat. He says, "Here's my thoughts. If done right, this could be insanely thought-provoking and powerful. I'm not sure I trust Infinity Ward to pull it off or the general audience to understand it." And I completely agree with that. Like, I'm down for some thought-provoking, campaign and Call of Duty that deals with the things that counterterrorism people have to go through and how they have to sacrifice their morality. Maybe kill a few innocent people here because what's a couple lies in the grand scheme of millions of lies? Like, there's a story you could tell there that could be incredibly compelling. Just not sure Activision and Infinity Ward are the ones to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's so that's kind of my thing on it. But I'll be playing on October 25th. But moving on, we're gonna talk about the Xbox stuff because this is the big news. I'm sure this is why a lot of people tuning in because then nobody wants to hear me and just talk about video games. You want to hear about Xbox stuff. So let's start with Xbox Game Pass on PC, and we'll work our way from there to Xbox games going on Steam, to our E3 preview of what you guys should expect to see at the show, our predictions or whatever. So, Game Pass on PC, not really a surprise. They've talked about this, Satya, before, but they're going to be talking about it more come E3. But basically, that they already confirmed that 100 plus high quality PC games from over 75 content partners, including Bethesda, Deep Silver, Devolver, Paradox, Sega, and Xbox Game Studios, will be joining the service. Now, it's interesting they mentioned Devolver Digital. You're going to be part of this because on Xbox console, we can't even get a goddamn Devolver Digital game to come to the store. They always skip Xbox. So it's that I saw Devolver as a partner, and I'm like, really? Can we get some Devolver games on the Xbox? What about Observation and I think Katana Zero and Gris and stuff? But okay, either way. So it's really no surprise that Game Pass is coming to PC. What is interesting is I think Sam's had said, and you were kind of also, we were talking about this beforehand, that it sounds like it's going to be part of the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate sub, right, Jez?
Yes, Brad Sams. I haven't read exactly what he said, but someone through our company said that he basically alluded to the fact that it would be tied up to Game Pass Ultimate, which makes sense to me. Like, if you've got an Xbox and you don't really want to have the PC games for whatever reason, then you can opt to not have it by just spending a little bit less and just getting Xbox Game Pass for Xbox. I mean, what are they going to call Xbox Game Pass now? Xbox Game Pass for Xbox and then Xbox Game Pass for PC?
Xbox Game Pass for console, Xbox Game Pass for PC.
Yeah,
boom, done and dusted.
I guess
done and dusted. And Letha Papa's right. Let's get some likes. Red and Jez always do a great job. Yeah, we have like 600 people here.
Thanks, man.
We have 600 people here, 175 likes. If you're enjoying the show, if enjoying what me and Jez are saying, or if you're not, there's always a dislike button. But hit that like button, share this out, and subscribe. So this is just another thing about Xbox becoming a platform, right? It's no longer about the console, it's about the platform. Game Pass coming to PC, presumably only on the Windows 10 store, like their Windows 10 store, Jez. We're not thinking that Game Pass will be coming to Steam, right?
No, I think like Game Pass is how they get gamers to use the Windows Store still. Because like people are saying, like, I've seen Tom Warren and some others put out an article that basically says, oh no, the Windows 10 store is dead. If like the games are coming to Steam, no one's ever going to use the Windows 10 store, but and UWP is dead and all that sort of stuff. But the truth is, I believe this Xbox Game Pass thing is going to be tied up to the Windows Store. I think like in order to get Game Pass for PC, you're going to need the Windows Store version, and that's the whole reason that they've decided to allow Win32 programs hit the Windows Store, because up until now it was restricted solely to UWP apps, which developers hate to develop for. And now I've run out of whiskey, so that's a shame. Breckenridge. This is not an ad or sponsor, by the way, but Breckenridge, a blend of straight bourbon whiskies with snow melt from the Rocky Mountains, product of the US of A, Colorado.
Ooh.
That is a damn nice whiskey.
Is it? Is it?
It is.
Well, we know what happens when Jez has a little something to drink in here. He might let something slip. So My buddy Sub Zedox. I always say his name wrong. I'm just gonna call him Zed. He says the Microsoft Store is not dead. So I I agree with them, but I kind of don't. Um, their store is basically going to be okay. Do you want to play these games for cheap through Xbox Game Pass? If so, you can use the store. But I mean, in their post, they talk about bringing their games to Steam and even bringing their games to other stores, maybe even the Epic one. So when you give PC gamers that chance, like, hey, Gears 5 is on Steam, you can buy it there for $60. Okay, so he says UWP is dead, the store lives. I got you. Is just another thing for Microsoft. Like you're gonna have, it's like, hey, you want to pay full price for Gears 5? You can do so at Steam. But if you want to pay super cheap for Gears 5 and get it through Game Pass, well, you can go through the Windows 10 store. So that's it. So no surprise about Xbox Game Pass. They're have more to share about it at E3. Now, the thing about Gears 5 coming to Steam, Jez, they talked about how like they basically want all or will put the rest of their exclusives on Steam. I mean, honestly, this isn't a shocker whatsoever. Like,
no, we talked about this. We talked about this weeks ago, months ago.
Yeah, I made a video months ago, and I think it was literally called "Are Gears 5 and Halo Infinite coming to Steam Day 1?" And it was like, with Master Chief Collection being announced for Steam, the floodgates are open. There's no turning back now, especially when you have Xbox executives like Mike Ybarra and Phil Spencer say what they want to do is give consumer choice. They want you to be able to play the games you want to play on the device you want to play it on, with the people you want to play it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've heard this for, I don't know, years now. The writing's been on the wall, and it's when Master Chief was announced for Steam, everybody should have known this was going to happen. That's why I said Halo Infinite shoo-in for Steam. Absolute shoo-in. Like 100% will be happening. And you know what? In my opinion, that's right for Halo as a franchise. Right? Because and I just wasn't sure if, Gears would be ready to go to Steam, right? A lot of the other Gears games aren't on Steam. So I thought, well, it makes sense to put Halo Infinite on Steam because you're going to have the Master Chief Collection on there. I just wasn't sure they were ready. What? I just wasn't sure Gears was ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. But this is tied up to the new development system they've developed for. That they're developed for. I lost my train of thought. This pertains to what they delivered in the Windows Insider program a few months ago, where they were giving away State of Decay Year Zero for Year Zero. I can't remember what it's called now. Year One edition, maybe. I can't remember.
Yeah,
they were giving away State of Decay 1 for the Windows Store because they were testing out a new development system. Now, some people in the Windows community took that to mean it was a Windows Core OS system, which is being developed to enable Xbox games to come to PC. But in reality, that whole test with State of Decay was to test bringing their development environment to Steam and bring Steam games to the Windows Store. It was more about Steam. And that version of State of Decay wasn't the Xbox version running on PC. It was the Steam version, which a lot of people have forgotten even exists. So that when they completed the deployment and development of that system, that was when it was certain to me that their games would start coming to Steam, because they don't invest in making that kind of system if they ain't going to use it, So, but what this means is not only will Microsoft benefit from bringing their games to Steam, which is the biggest PC platform in the world, and they'll benefit from the extra audience and extra cash that they can reinvest in their franchises on console too. And in addition to that, it means that games that are made for Steam will be able to come to the Windows Store a lot easier than they have been in the past, because devs don't like UWP. And like I remember a few years ago at Build, they showed off Project Centennial, which is a whole system that allows Win32 games to be ported to UWP. And they were like, yo, this is The Witcher 3 running in UWP. We ported it using this great tool, but still devs didn't want to do it. So like the Windows Store has no games. And because the Windows Store has no games, nobody uses it. Because nobody uses it, it's terrible because there's low investment, because there's no money in that department to reinvest in making it good. So, it's all about improving access at the end of the day. Access for devs, access for gamers, giving them choice. Like, you don't want to buy the games, you can subscribe to the games, and that sort of thing. It's all about access, and that's how you grow your platform, is improving access to it.
Yeah. So shout out to Senior Grims for the super chat. Appreciate the support, bro. Yes, I'm not surprised by this at all. I knew it was coming. I just wasn't sure if it would be coming with Gears 5. But you can't say you want them to play, you want to be everywhere and you want people to play where they want, and then, offer Master Chief Collection on Steam and then suddenly not offer the other games. I mean, people need to come to the realization that Xbox no longer means a console. I've been saying this for I don't know how long now. Xbox is the platform. Console is one avenue of accessing said content. PC is another, whether it's through Steam or Windows 10 or the Epic Store. The mobile through xCloud will be another way. Maybe down the road, there'll be stuff on the Switch. That's what Xbox is trying to do. And they're following the Microsoft approach. What has Satya Nadella basically turned Microsoft into? A service-based company that is willing and able to put their content wherever the customer is. It's different than Ballmer's Microsoft that was literally, we need to bring the customers to us. And, well, you can't really argue with Nadella's strategy. Microsoft is what? Like, aren't they valued higher than they ever been, Jazz? Like, their stock.
Yeah, their stock valuation is
so
it's around $1 trillion.
Yeah, so I see people saying like, well, this is just because Xbox One failed. And yeah, I don't think it wasn't a good generation for Xbox, but in my eyes, this is what Xbox is just becoming more in line with what Microsoft as a company is doing. Like, Microsoft's vision is services everywhere and things everywhere, and Xbox is finally coming around to that. Kits Move says they need to bring Tactics and Age and Minecraft Dungeons to Xbox. And that's the thing I will say. I will agree with you on that, kid. I'm 100% with you on that. Look, if Xbox is PC and Xbox is console and Xbox is mobile, then all the games should be everywhere. There's no reasons for PC exclusives to stay on PC and not coming to Xbox, especially if you have keyboard and mouse support, which the Xbox does. So every time I bring this up, I always hear from people, well, you can't bring Age of Empires to console because you need keyboard and mouse to play it. And they can't do that. And I'm like, do we live in a different reality where Microsoft sold Kinect games that required an accessory to play? Them requiring a different input method never stopped them before. So I agree with Kit's move on that. I 100% think Gears Tactics should be on PC day one, as well as Age of Empires, even though I don't care about Age of Empires one bit. That game should be on Xbox. Forza Street should, even though I couldn't care less about Forza Street. You need to treat both platforms the same. And I already know we're going to delve into, gold. You need to pay for gold on the console, but not gold on the PC. Like, I understand that is another thing that is different. And to some people, it seems like you're almost penalized for playing on the console because you have to pay the fee to access multiplayer, where on the PC you don't. And I don't know what to say to that. I've talked to people and I said, you need to get rid of this. And they always say, well, it subsidizes the console. Okay. I mean, I don't know what else to say, Jez. I mean, I don't have an issue with Halo Infinite being on Steam or more platforms. Hell, I want Halo to become as great as it used to be. I want more people to experience Halo. I want more people to know about Ori, right? I want more people to play Gears. Like, I don't care. Like, a game being exclusive to a console doesn't make it great. Days Gone was exclusive to the PlayStation 4. Did it make it a good game? No, it sure as hell didn't. Right? God of War would have been great if it was on PC as well. It's not the exclusivity of the console that makes games good. All that really does is kind of justify fans' purchase decisions. Like, I bought Xbox. These games are for me and for nobody else. So I feel justified in spending $500 around about it. You know what I mean? So for me, as long as the game is on Xbox, I don't care where else it's at. I don't care if Halo Infinite's on the Nintendo Switch. I don't care if Halo Infinite's on the PlayStation. It doesn't bother me whatsoever.
I had someone in my mentions earlier saying like, why should I buy an Xbox? And I was like, he was like, why should I buy an Xbox? All the games are on PC. And I was like, I don't know. Why don't you buy a PC? And he said, I don't like gaming on PC. And I was like,
There you
well,
go.
there you go.
There you
There
go.
you go. Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I don't get the mindset.
Yes. So Microsoft is basically saying, look, you play where you want. This isn't if you don't want to get an Xbox console, but you still want to play Xbox games, you got PC, baby. It's right there for you. You can even play our games on Steam. Go right ahead. We'll put our games there, and they'll probably be the best versions. And if you don't want to play on PC, we're still making the console. You can enjoy the games there. And if you don't even want to play on the console, you can want to play on mobile phones on iPads, it's there as well. I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm almost happy that this is out now. Right? I'm almost happy that you don't have to tiptoe around this because it's basically out in the open. Like Xbox's strategy is finally, after years of them kind of teasing and being in the bushes around it, it's out there in the open. Now people know Xbox is a platform. The games will be on Steam or they'll be on Xbox. Is there a reason to buy a console? That depends on you. Do you want the console? No? Then buy a PC. Do you not want a PC? Then buy the console. It's not that hard of a thing to fathom. And sure, like I mentioned, it's not equal. You still got to pay for gold on console, which is BS. Maybe that's something they rectify in the future. I don't know. Maybe it's a big megaton they have at E3 where they say they're removing the restrictions to gold. But clearly they're not going to because they just combined gold with Ultimate for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So I don't think it's going away. I think it's just one of those things where people are just going to have to bite the bullet and accept it. I don't know what else to say.
I think the only like sort of downside, the only downside of the thing is like the stuff you mentioned, where the games like Tactics and Age of Empires haven't yet hit Xbox because it's kind of like Microsoft's almost contradicting themselves by not doing that. You bring mouse and keyboard support to Xbox, but your only game that supports it is Sea of Thieves and Minecraft so far.
Fortnite,
Like,
I think, supports it, right? Or I mean,
I mean Microsoft games. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, Halo Wars doesn't support it. Like, why not? And like, the only thing I can think of is that maybe they haven't finished setting up the APIs. Oh, sorry. And maybe they're still sort of nervous about putting a game on Xbox that won't have controller support, because obviously you could get a scenario where loads of people buy Age of Empires, find that it doesn't have controller support because why would it? And and then they get all upset because they can't play it because they don't have a mouse and keyboard, or they don't have one of the expensive Razer wireless mouse and keyboards, which is so damn expensive. I mean, some manufacturer out there, make a cheaper wireless keyboard, please.
Please.
Please for Xbox. But it's I would like Microsoft to actually pledge that for the console guys, because it does feel a bit like I understand where the people are coming from, like the whole raw deal thing, like they have to pay for live and stuff like that. And yeah, the console's cheaper and stuff like that, but it still feels a bit unfair in some sort of way. Like once you bought the thing, you don't think about it anymore. You just sort of wonder like, well, how come this PC guy can play Gears 5 online with me and not have to pay for Xbox Live,
Yep, that is an issue too. I've talked about that before. Like the idea that like Xbox users or console users have to pay for the subscription, but then don't have the option to opt out of crossplay is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, see this whole Sea of Thieves thing. The only thing I can think of is that Microsoft hasn't finished the APIs properly yet, and like maybe like Gears of War uses some kind of bespoke system, and they've got like playlists to keep people separate, whereas Sea of Thieves doesn't really have that. Basically, Microsoft needs to do something at a platform level to make it easier on devs to get those cross-play options in. If they're going to push this cross-play thing hard, they need to keep the options in, because the console is a very curated experience, and like I like that about console. You know, I like that curated experience. I don't like it when I jump into Sea of Thieves on my console and there's a dude there who's blatantly turning using a mouse. He's like blatantly turning using a mouse. Like you can just tell from how fast they turn without sacrificing any accuracy. Like yeah, with a controller you can turn up the turn speed if you want, the look speed, so you can turn faster. But damn, you ain't gonna be able to get the same amount of accuracy, because the distance between your thumb and the pivot on the joystick is much longer than just stopping moving the mouse cursor. You know, it's just less precise. You know, so they do need to implement those systems, and they do need to give some sort of answer to like. So you're taking the money for Xbox Live and using that money to fund Gears Tactics, which is a PC game, using that money to fund Gears Pop, which is a mobile game, using that money to fund Minecraft Earth, which is another mobile game, which we're not going to get. Like what? And now you've confirmed that all your games are coming to PC as well. So like, is Xbox Live just subsidizing the cost of the console now? If it is, you need to come out and say that, because the value proposition in of itself is no longer there. So, I mean, you can't even say like you're paying for the messages system and stuff, because I can press Windows key and G and just get that straight up now for free. Like the messaging stuff is totally free, and we know that it's free because it's full of spam bots.
Yep, it totally is. I get spam bots all the time. Thank God they have but they got smarter, because there wasn't just the messages, because people got message requests, so you wouldn't see them. Now they comment on your achievements and your activity feed. It's like, yeah,
smart bots, man. And I've got a guy called 7water22519 spamming PyChan voice right now, and like out of the Windows game bar, I can't right click and block him. So the only way I can get to him is to accept his invite and then click on his profile. So
yeah, there should be something where you can just block invites from people not in your friends list. Like it just doesn't show up, or
yeah,
they show up but it doesn't give you a notification, right? Like the message request does. I think that'll happen eventually.
But it's all or nothing right now. Like I can either block everyone or no one.
So the thing I look at this Steam thing, and I look at it as a net positive for the most part. Like I said, I don't care where the games are. I don't care that Halo Infinite's everywhere, right? I look at it as like, okay, so finally, and maybe you could say, like, look, I don't think Microsoft, I don't think the games that Microsoft made this gen sold well. Clearly, like, we haven't seen sequels to a lot of these games. And if they sold well enough, you're damn right we would have. If Sunset Overdrive 2 knocked it out of the park, Sunset Overdrive 1 rather, you'd see Sunset Overdrive 2. Like this video game industry is a sequel factory. You have one successful game, you make another successful game, rinse and repeat. Microsoft, well, I think a lot of their plans were kind of crushed when they had the whole DRM thing, and Sony kind of, stabbed them in the heart with, this is how you share games. So they got off on the wrong foot, didn't sell enough consoles, and because they didn't sell enough consoles and there was that backlash, a lot of their earlier games didn't sell very well. Rise, Sunset, Recore, what have you, right? The games didn't sell well. So it's also business, right? Because those games didn't sell well, you don't get sequels, unfortunately. But if you're putting Halo Infinite on Steam, which has 200 million monthly active users, if you have Gears on Steam and Ori on Steam, and you make a new IP, there's a better chance now, that those games could become franchises, because more people are eventually going to buy them. Like, I think Halo Infinite is going to be the biggest launch ever for an Xbox game. Like, when that launches day one on Game Pass, on the console, on Game Pass on Windows 10, on Steam, on xCloud, more than likely, it's probably going to be the biggest launch in Xbox Live history. I hope they are saving up and getting ready for the servers. But my point is, since more people are going to be buying the games, that could lead to, more than likely will lead to, more games being made, more money funneled into game development, potentially more studio acquisitions, because Satya will see that gaming's making money. So more investments, a bigger budgets for games, because now they have more people to sell the games to, and that's just their strategy going forward. I mean, you can say, "Well, lol, Xbox fans didn't support Xbox." I mean, maybe. I mean, yeah, people look. Sunset Overdrive didn't get a sequel because nobody bought Sunset Overdrive, and the only people who could buy Sunset Overdrive were Xbox fans. I'm not saying every Xbox fan's here to blame for that, because you got to be interested in the game to buy it. But that's just the truth. It's a business, and I, so to me, the whole Steam thing is nothing but good. Like I said, I've said constantly before. I haven't made the video yet because it's always in the back of my mind, but I honestly have never been more excited about the future of Xbox. There was a point where I was incredibly down about the direction Xbox was headed around 2017, early 2018. I honestly thought at some point they just would fade away. Like I
am like, dude, I'm excited too, but I'm also like, I'm still kind of nervous. I'm still kind of like wondering how all this is going to come together. I'm still kind of wondering like if Xbox truly understands like how much work they need to put in on their content strategy.
Sure.
I don't know if they understand the full scope of it. And it comes back to what I was saying about Death Stranding, where like they just look at the telemetry. They decide if a game is good or bad based on user telemetry, which is faulty. It's a faulty way to think about art, because there are things that cannot be measured by telemetry. And this is one thing that Microsoft just doesn't understand. And they haven't understood it the whole time I've been covering Microsoft, that there's a human element to games and all their stuff. There is a human element that they are not measuring properly. And I kind of feel worried that they are still not measuring things properly. Like the thing is, they can have these insider programs, they can do all these surveys, but the thing is, people don't know what they want, and they can't tell you what they want because people aren't an expert. They aren't an expert at what they actually want until they want it. None of us know what the next big thing will be. We see when touch screens were invented, people were like, "That's stupid. Why would I want to tap on a touch screen? I want to use my phone with my buttons, man." Like, my mom is still like that. She refuses to use a touch screen. But look at us now. You're seen as, like, Daniel Rubino made this point in one of his videos on our YouTube channel recently, where it's like, you're seen as weird if you don't have a smartphone now. Whereas, like, back then, you were seen as a nerd if you had a smartphone. And Microsoft, they still think like, just because people are saying now something's bad, or they're saying now people aren't using this stuff, this is why they keep missing the boat on things changing. Now, there are signs that they are willing to take risks, like on that whole xCloud thing. Like, nobody's really saying they want to have, laggy stream games on their touchscreen phones. Nobody's really saying that, but they're banking on the idea that they can make it work. Like, they believe that HoloLens and augmented reality could be the next inflection point for computing, if they can bring the price down. That's fair enough that they're taking that risk. But I'm just worried that the creative people at Microsoft, they think of games too much like products and not enough like art. That's my worry. That the human element is somehow missing in that creative art process. It's hard to explain what I mean.
No, I know exactly what you mean.
It's a feeling. It's just a feeling I have. I can't measure it. I can't really write about it because I can't quantify what I'm feeling, because it's an art thing that I don't think they get.
No, I feel you. I feel you. But I'm just saying, for me personally, I was incredibly down for Xbox. I didn't know what the future held, and seeing the direction they're going in and what they're doing, it excites me. I couldn't go into next generation with Microsoft's first-party studios being 343, the Coalition, Rare, and Mojang. I couldn't do it. I'd be like, this is literally going to be a repeat of the Xbox One generation. It's going to be, which in my opinion, like, I mean, if you're ranking the consoles, this is like underneath Xbox 360. But I see what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. So for me, it's like, yeah, I'm super excited. But there is, of course, just because I'm excited doesn't mean, like, I think it's all going to turn out great. I still have questions. Can Microsoft make a game like art, like you're talking about, like that element? Do they know what they're really doing? Is their strategy sound? And I'll probably make a video to go over a little bit about that. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. Shout out to the 615 people watching. We appreciate all of you, everybody chatting. Don't forget, if you're enjoying the show, hit that like button. We got 247 likes. I would just love for it right now to just bump all the way up to 300 and 16 dislikes. So, hey, obviously, some people aren't enjoying the show, but hey, that's okay. That's okay. But hit that like button if you're enjoying the content and the podcast and the discussion that me and Jez are having, because we're about to roll into E3, baby. We got a preview coming here. I did a video, Jez did predictions, and it's time, Jez. You want to talk about what we expect to see at E3? Basically less than 2 weeks away, Sunday, June 9th, 1 p.m. Pacific. You'll be in attendance. I'll be on my PC watching. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. You ready for this, Jez?
I am, man. I'm ready for it.
So let's go through the services first, and then we'll work our way third party and first party, because I think first party is the things most people are tuning into. Like everybody knows, so if Cyberpunk's going to be there, it's the biggest third party game. But let's just go through the services. We'll start obviously with Game Pass. They're going to talk more about Xbox Game Pass on PC. Clearly, they said it. I also think they're going to announce more games coming day one. They usually do this, and I'm thinking of a partnership with bigger publishers. I called it in my video a publisher portal, right? Basically, in my eyes, I see them partnering with Bethesda and saying, "Look, all of Bethesda's games are now on Game Pass, and going forward, all their future games will be in Game Pass 6 months after release. So Rage 2 will be there in November, yada yada yada." That's what I expect from Game Pass. What do you think?
Yeah, Game Pass is going to be a big one. I think we're going to hear more about Game Pass Ultimate, what that means for Game Pass for PC. There's a lot of unanswered questions about what Game Pass truly means for all that sort of stuff. And I guess we'll get all those answers at E3, because they've introduced it now, and they basically said wait for E3 before we can drive down into the details. So I don't know about the publisher deals and stuff. What intrigues me is the 75 publishers they've apparently got for the PC version, and they've got some big heavyweights like Paradox Interactive. They're doing a lot of work with them recently.
And Devolver, yeah, they got some big ones.
Did you see? Yeah, do you remember when a lot of people have forgotten this already, but a few months ago, Microsoft announced that they're building a modding platform for the Windows Store in partnership with Paradox Interactive?
I remember, yep.
So they're working really closely with Paradox Interactive at the moment, which excites me because I am such a huge Paradox fan. For those that don't know, Paradox make a lot of strategy games like Stellaris, Europa Universalis, and they're announcing new games at E3 as well, if you're interested in that. But they're very PC oriented games. They're Surviving Mars has controller controls, but it doesn't handle very well with a controller compared to mouse and keyboard. And the same is true for Stellaris on Xbox. It is really hard to play Stellaris with a controller. So damn hard.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. I think that's we'll hear a bit about Game Pass, but Rand, I hope they don't spam us with Game Pass for the whole show, because they did that for
XO18, yeah. But first, I got to shout out Daniel J for the super chat. He says, "So with the trade war, $500 console will cost $625." Wow. Now we're going to be talking about that after this, about the supposed tariffs, and we're going to give our thoughts on that. A shout out to the Ravenflow. He says, "Here's hoping Sunset Overdrive 2 finds a publisher." I would love to see a sequel to that. Don't know who would publish it. Maybe Xbox. And shout out to Orlando Telfer. He says, "Jez, the key is creative freedom." There you go. Key is creative freedom.
I hope so. I really hope so. And Microsoft have said that they're taking a hands-off approach to, Ninja Theory and Obsidian and Exile and stuff like that. But,
so that's the Game Pass. But I agree with you. XO18 to me felt like a Game Pass commercial. They need to tone that down for E3. It can't just be like, a Game Pass commercial, right? It needs to be just a dedicated segment. Maybe if the game's going to Game Pass, you have it somewhere in the trailer, but you don't need to just because I made this comment.
Brand, I know what they're gonna do now. I know what
What?
they're gonna do
What
now.
are they gonna do?
They're gonna be like console exclusive,
Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do.
Console exclusive. Xbox Game Pass day one.
Exclusive. Metal Gear. Wait, what?
Xbox platform exclusive. Windows 10 and Xbox console day one Game Pass.
And Steam and Epic Games Store and Good Old Games and Green Man Gaming.
Yeah.
And iOS and Android and Nintendo Switch and Ouya. World exclusive.
World exclusive. World premiere.
World premiere.
Oh man, can't wait to hear some of that stuff. It's funny. So yeah, just don't make Game Pass the focus of the show. Don't make it seem like it's the only reason you're doing it. Don't make it seem used car salesman-y like they kind of did at XO. ID at Xbox, they're going to be there. They're going to have another sizzle reel. Obviously, some of the like newer games coming to the service. I'm looking forward to it because, quite frankly, there hasn't been a lot of great indie titles coming to Xbox. A lot of them seem to miss the platform.
Did we talk about that last week? Or did we
did. So I just kind of hope that maybe they right the ship a little bit with them partnering with Devolver Digital on the PC side. Does that mean maybe they kind of work through their differences and we're going to start seeing a lot more Devolver Digitals on ID at Xbox because those games are really good?
So I think like 75 publishers supporting Xbox Game Pass for PC says to me a lot of those are going to be indies because you've got a lot of indie games on Steam.
Yeah. So there's that. xCloud. Now, hopefully, Microsoft. See, the thing I like about E3 is I like it when it's just not a lot of talking and you just move from game to game, right? Whether it's a new trailer or a gameplay demo. What I don't want to see is people out there talking about stuff for extended periods of time. Like last year, when Phil comes out and gives a speech in the beginning, that's cool. That's great. You're setting up the show. You're showing people what to expect. I understand that you need to set everything up, right? It kind of dovetailed a little bit and got a little boring when they did the Game Pass segment because they had the head of Game Pass, I forget her name, Ashley something. She came out there, was clearly shook a bit being in front of a stage of worldwide, which, hey, understandable. Like being in front of millions of people watching definitely is something you can't prepare for until you've done it. But they talked a little bit too much there. So my point with xCloud is we know it's a big part of their future business. Phil responded when Google had their thing with Stadia saying that they're going to go big at E3. This is how they're going to reach 2 billion gamers. And so we know xCloud's going to be there. And I expect some sort of demonstration, whether it's 15 minutes long or something. I just hope it's not that long. And I hope the talking is kept to a minimum throughout the show. What do you think, Joe?
That's another one. xCloud exclusive.
xCloud exclusive.
But yeah, I think like I hope they have the cognizance to not put too much xCloud in there because you can show it off on stage, but it's like you're not going to really know if it works properly until you've got it in your hand. So I hope they realize that you can't really demo that kind of thing that well. Like, have you ever seen like the HoloLens demos, the ridiculous camera rig they have when they're trying to demo HoloLens?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a huge contraption. so they can paint the holograms onto like a camera feed and then blow it up to a TV. Like it's hard to demonstrate things live, and I hope they don't try to demonstrate it too much live. Like we already saw them; they sort of tried to demonstrate Forza Live on xCloud, didn't they? And it wasn't great. So I hope they give us some. I hope they give us time frames rather than just tell us again that it's coming. If all they do is tell us, yeah, it's coming, blah blah blah, it's coming. I hope they actually give us details. I hope we find out like what games are going to be there, because for those people who think that all your games are going to be there day and date, you are going to be disappointed. It's going to be more like Xbox backwards compatibility, where developers decide whether or not they want to jump in and whether or not they want to try and get some more money out of Microsoft to be there and stuff like that. You know, like for example, a small indie dev for a small indie dev, getting xCloud on there is probably a no-brainer because they're thinking like more people can play our game, blah blah blah. We can do more conversions and stuff like that. But a big game, a big publisher might think, well, we want to know how much Microsoft is going to give us for that. You know, we want to cut in some way. So there's going to be business deals involved with xCloud. And there might be some companies who don't want to support it at all. Like maybe EA just says, you know what, we're going to make our own xCloud, which is what they're rumored to be doing, trying to make their own cloud servers. Good luck with that, EA. Good luck with that. So yeah, I just want details on xCloud. I believe that it's gonna work for some things, and I don't know if you saw today. Like this is another shout out to Tom Warren, but he was tweeting on 5G today because they've switched 5G on in London. He had 1 gigabyte per second
Whoa.
on a train.
Wow,
Going
that's
really fast.
yeah. There is that like 5G could change a lot of things for the mobile stuff. So
yeah, it's crazy. And like London, if London has a data center for xCloud and you've got 5G in London, there ain't going to be any latency problems. That's if that's the speed. And like yeah, like there's not a lot of people with a 5G compatible phone right now. Like Tom Warren's probably like one of a few dozen, and there will be congestion, especially in London. But you know, I'm sure Microsoft Stadia was saying you wouldn't need more than like a few dozen megabytes per second. You know,
yeah,
like 5G could change things, or it could give China access to our security infrastructure, and they could take over the world and kill us all. It could do that as well.
stop it, Jez. But moving on to the third party stuff. I mean, there's not really much here to say. Like the known stuff. Cyberpunk 2077. It's gonna be there. It's gonna be spectacular. You already know it. Everybody in chat knows it. Potentially the biggest third party game out there. Going to be on stage. They're going to have a great trailer. And I think they're going to drop a release window, May 2020.
What, for Cyberpunk?
Yeah.
Xbox Game Pass exclusive.
No, that would be a ridiculously huge gap. That ain't happening. Cyberpunk 2077 is not going to be in Game Pass, but it's going to be there. I mean, isn't that like? There's 2 games you're super excited to see. One of them, Cyberpunk 2077. And the next one, isn't it Dying Light 2? I fully 100% expect Dying Light 2 to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm predicting release in January of 2020.
Huh, interesting. You're really good at those predictions. I don't know how you do it.
Well, because I mean, it just makes sense. Dying Light 1 was a huge success, and it came out in January. Games come out in January all the time that really do well. And if you're doing Dying Light 2, you just copy what worked with the first one, being the release date. January 2020. It makes sense.
It's starting to feel like January is the month horror games should release.
Yeah. And did you see today Dying Light 2 is published by Square Enix?
Yeah. That I didn't expect.
Yeah. Last one was published by... Was it Techland?
Yeah, Techland's publishing this one too, but I think Square Enix are handling US distribution.
Yeah.
I'm guessing Techland's not... I'm guessing Techland's pushing their credit a bit at the moment. They haven't released the game in a while. They released God's Trigger, which is a decent game, but not the kind of game that's going to make you... Not the kind of game that's going to pay their bills, probably. Yeah. Especially given how expensive Dying Light 2 looks. I bet that was expensive to make. It looks great, though. And Chris Avellone, if I pronounce his name right, is a bit of a legend. So, looking forward to that. Speaking of him, Larian Studios appears to be teasing Baldur's Gate 3.
Indeed they are. Indeed they are.
Chris Avellone, I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry. He tweeted the word Baldur earlier. So that basically kind of confirms it. He might be working on it.
We have a question from Shaddai Eternal in Super Chat. He says, now that Project xCloud is Microsoft's focus for E3, doesn't that make Xbox Play Anywhere obsolete because there are only a few games with it? No, I don't think so. I mean, I think
Project Play Anywhere is more of a licensing thing. It's more like if you're in an Xbox Play Anywhere game, that basically says that you're giving people access to the license on PC as well. It's not like a system so much. It's more like just sort of it's almost like a deal more than a program or something. It's just like, oh, this is Xbox Play Anywhere. They should just call it a deal. Like kind of like those Blu-ray, what is it called now? When you buy a Blu-ray and you also get the digital version as well. I can't remember what it's called now. But I don't think this affects Xbox Play Anywhere. But again, at the same time, I don't think Xbox Play Anywhere has been that successful.
No, I don't think it has either.
The only games that I've really used Xbox Play Anywhere for is pretty much Minecraft, and that's not really Xbox Play Anywhere anyway. Like,
yeah. I don't think it's been successful. I think it'll continue. I think the Xbox games, on console will have the same thing. But yeah, I don't think it's been that successful. But moving on, the other like Borderlands 3, I fully expect to be there. But are they going to let Randy Pitchford come out on stage? I mean, some of the stuff he's been doing lately, I don't know. Like, I think you want less Randy Pitchford as possible, but I expect Borderlands 3 to be there. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from EA. I think Microsoft has the marketing rights for this game.
yeah,
I expect that.
I put that in my article.
Or The Outer Worlds. Microsoft bought Obsidian. People love The Outer Worlds until they announced Epic Game Store exclusive, and then everybody turned on the game, right?
Yeah, that was such a 180. I feel sorry for the Obsidian, but like, I think people aren't really blaming Obsidian; they're blaming the publisher. Who is the publisher now?
Publisher is Private Division, aka 2K. But I think the big announcement here, I think there'll be a gameplay demo, but it's going to be joining Xbox Game Pass day one. I think Microsoft worked something out with 2K, paid for the rights. But yeah, I fully expect Outer Worlds to be in Game Pass day one.
I think they put that in the blog post today.
Did they? I closed the blog
about Wasteland, and unless I'm
sure people in chat maybe. I mean, I read the article. I must have just glossed over that, but I had it in my prediction video.
Let me just have a quick look while you carry on.
Okay, so moving on from that, we have Doom Eternal.
Yes, Rand. Yes. Yes, including titles from newly acquired studios like Obsidian and Exile. They didn't explicitly say it, but that does sound to me like Outer Worlds.
So does that mean? I mean, but that could just be the PC version of Game Pass. Doesn't necessarily mean the console version, because now we got to think about console and PC version. You know.
But then again, that'd be so weird and annoying for Xbox fans if it was in the PC one and not the console one.
Yeah, it totally, absolutely would. But yeah, so well, they've already said it. Unless they're talking about future games from Obsidian, not necessarily this one. But either way, moving on from that, Avengers. Although it sounds like this one's kind of busted because it said the worldwide premiere is going to be on June 10th at Square Enix's conference. So yeah, so I was kind of thinking, I'm like, Avengers is going to be there, Microsoft show, and I was feeling good about that. And then like Square Enix had to ruin it and say, no, worldwide premiere the 10th. But then you read some of the stuff about the game, and maybe it's not what everybody thinks it is.
What do you think?
I don't know. Like, I thought you were going to be playing as Iron Man and Thor and Hulk, like the Avengers, but it sounds like maybe you're not. I don't know. Like, it's like a Destiny type game, which if that's the case, you can just, I'm not interested. Even though I've enjoyed like all of Crystal Dynamics games, I'm not really interested in a Destiny version of Avengers.
Like the problem with those sort of hero games that are multiplayer, I can't remember what it was called now, but there was like a Diablo-like game where you could be like, I can't remember if it was DC or Marvel now. You could be like Wolverine and stuff like that. But the thing is, there'd be like 10 Wolverines running around the screen. If everyone's the hero, nobody's the hero. You know? So like Avengers game, if everyone can be Iron Man, then it's not, nobody's the hero. It's not it's not good. So don't do that. But it's
the Ravenflow says this is a multi-platform show now. I mean, it kind of always has been. Microsoft and Sony show way more third-party stuff than they show first-party stuff. It's always been a third-party show. It's just a matter of where the third-party games show up at.
Yeah, it's
like no different. Like,
on Windows Central, like we used to be called Windows Phone Central, and people used, like, when we transitioned to Windows Central to start covering Xbox and PC as well. A lot of the Windows Phone fans were like, cover more Windows Phone news. And we were just like, well, there isn't any. Because so what can you do? Sometimes, like, you have to talk about the industry as a whole, because what PlayStation does, what Nintendo does, it affects Xbox too. You know.
Yeah. So another game I think is going to be there is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I don't think Watch Dogs 3 will be there. I think they'll save that for. I think they'll save that for their own show.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I think has Xbox marketing. I think they'll show it off there.
It is Xboxy too.
Yeah, I don't think that roller derby, their Rocket League game, I think will be at Ubisoft show.
Roller.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by that.
No Splinter Cell, unfortunately. You know, I always kind of like, this is the year we're getting Splinter Cell. Nope, not happening. Sorry. Moving on from Ubisoft. I think I said Doom Eternal, and it was funny because in my comments when I said Doom Eternal, someone was like, "Well, why? That doesn't make any sense because Bethesda has a conference later that night." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, they do, but Bethesda always shows up to Microsoft's. Last year, they literally showed off Fallout 76 first on Xbox's show.
Yeah,
Todd Howard came out and he plugged their show. If you wanted to learn more about Fallout 76, you can watch Bethesda's thing. So I think that they'll do very similar for Doom Eternal. Like, here's a new trailer. We'll have, watch the Bethesda press conference later for a bigger blowout for it, right? But then you get into some of like the unannounced games, like From Software and George R. R. Martin's game. That's going to be there. I'm so excited to see what that's like because I love Sekiro. Haven't played Bloodborne or the other Dark Souls games yet, but like you're telling me that From Software is going to team up with the writer of Song of Ice and Fire. That kind of intrigues me. There's also what Rocksteady's doing, and I said Suicide Squad's going to be there because that's the game they're working on. Even though Dealer said that he would rather see Warner Brothers Montreal's new Batman game, which I can't disagree with. Like, I want to see a new Batman game. It's been too long, but I still think it's going to be Suicide Squad.
Oh, hang on. And they're working on Suicide Squad. I thought they were working on Superman.
No, they're working on Suicide Squad.
Why Suicide Squad? Wasn't that a terrible, terrible movie?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they're working on Suicide Squad, but I mean,
Suicide Squad from the comics, or was it
yes.
made for the movie? Okay.
Yes.
So basically, it'll be their take on Suicide Squad, not a movie tie-in.
Okay. What? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would like to see Batman, and yeah, to me, it's like, why not make Superman or Justice League game? But apparently, that's not what they're working on, and it's Justice League, or it's Suicide Squad rather.
Suicide Squad's kind of lame. And what can they do? Like in their universe,
it's going to be like a co-op game, because it's like it's Deadshot, it's Harley Quinn, it's like the villains of the unit, like of the thing. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
What are the villains of it?
Like the villains, like the Batman's, like there's a lot of villains within Suicide Squad. It's
Joker's
a group of villains.
Joker's dead in their canon, though. Right.
Well, I mean, it's a game. Like, it's not following the movie canon.
No, but it wouldn't it follow Rocksteady's Batman canon? Surely.
Sure, but Joker, like, it does. You don't necessarily need Joker.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. DC Universe just seems like a bit of a mess.
Yeah. So hopefully we can see more from that. What else we got here? Onimusha. I think they're doing like a full-on next-gen treatment for the game. And I think that's gonna be at the show. And I think that's all I have for third party. You have any other things you want to add for third party?
I don't think so.
I mean, there's so much. Like, I fully expect their, Xbox to do their typical. We're showing 50 games, 20 exclusives, 21, like world premieres or some stuff. So it's like a lot of these games aren't announced yet. It's really hard to pick out what games are going to be at the show, right? So I kind of go through it and like jot down what I think might be there. But obviously, it's third party stuff. It's the first party that really interests people. So. I figure,
I hope, like on the second party thing, I just hope third party. Sorry, I hope there's like some surprises out of left field. Because there's some things I know, and that's because I've got meetings and I'm under NDA and I can't talk about it. But like, like, for example, the Ravenflow just sending chat talking about Dino Crisis. Like, I remember that rumor, that 4chan leak, or what, NeoGaf or whatever it was, that said there might be a new Dino Crisis. There's some things in that leak which I knew weren't true, which called the whole thing into question. But I still kind of want to see. I either want to see Resident Evil 3 remake, I either want to see Resident Evil 8, or I want to see Dino Crisis reboot or something in that vein from Capcom. Because Capcom are just, they're crushing it lately. The last few years, Capcom have been crushing it in a good way.
Right. But for first party, let's get the smaller stuff out of the way first. Battletoads. I think you'll find.
Stuff? What are you talking about? Smaller stuff.
Battletoads, small, super small. Who really cares about Battletoads? Cancelled, please. Yes, Jez, I said that. What are you gonna do about it?
Fired. You're fired from the podcast.
I mean, if you're gonna cancel Scalebound and not cancel Battletoads, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Battletoads in 2019. Who asked for this? Who asked for Battletoads? Nobody. That's who. Cancel. Nobody needs it. Nobody's gonna buy it anyways. But yeah, so they have a trailer, 2020, and you can tell I'm being very over the top with Battletoads. So calm down, calm down. I know people, but Rand said they. Calm down. Being a little over the top. Don't want it to be canceled. You know, I just talked about how a lot of his words were taken out of context and stuff. Just don't want that to happen to me either. Don't want to see Battletoads canceled. Rather have a game come out. Just saying, I don't care about Battletoads.
You don't know if you care about it, man. What if it's as good? I
don't care about it.
What if it's as good as Ori? What if it's got hand painted backgrounds and it's
okay? Well, then I will make if I play when I play it, and if it's as good as Ori, the video will be titled "I was completely wrong about Battletoads 2020."
And so hang on, you are building up a negative persona about Battletoads, so you can do a flip and do a 180 and then do a clickbait.
Am I gonna flip flop?
I get you. I get you. I get what you're doing.
Shout out to Johnny Patton's a super chat. He says, "In my opinion, Xbox missing out on an R-rated Mario and Conquer 2." Interesting. I've never been a fan of Conquer, but that's just me. I know there's a lot of love for Conquer, but so Battletoads. Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I think, will have another trailer for the third year in a row. And let this be a reminder to people that when Xbox says, well, we only like teasing stuff that, comes out real soon, let Ori and the Will of the Wisp remind you that they showed it off in 2017, and then again in 2018, and then again in 2019. And then it finally came out. So, just remember these things. Like, they can easily show games that are going to be at 3 E3s. So, that game, my most anticipated, cannot wait. It's going to be game of the year. And I'm predicting it comes out August, around August 20th. And since Jazz doesn't have anything to add for Ori, Halo Infinite, obviously.
I can't say. I don't know. What am I talking about? What are you talking about?
Halo Infinite, they're going to have a Halo segment, probably talk about Master Chief Collection. New trailer for Halo, sporting Master Chief's new armor and whatever the story they're going to set up there. Have a release window, winter or fall 2020. And then you think in the back of your mind, oh yeah, Halo Infinite, 3-year teased. Interesting. Xbox does show stuff when they actually have stuff to show well in advance. God, I can't wait to see what this game is, Jez. Can't wait to see what Halo Infinite actually is,
Like, I've never been, people who watch the show know I've never been a massive fan of Halo. Like, I never connected with it that much, like the story and stuff like that. But I appreciate that it's got like this massive lore, and they have to service fans who are hardcore about the story and the books and the comics and all the cross media sort of stuff. And which is why like Halo 5 came across a bit convoluted to me, because there was things in Halo 5 that I just didn't know, because I wasn't that into the story, so it was a bit weird. I hope they figure out how to reconcile the sort of more casual Halo fan against the hardcore Halo fan. I also hope they can modernize the gameplay a bit and maybe do some new stuff with it. But again, I'm worried for the stuff that I talked about earlier, whereas like, can Microsoft really understand the human element of the game, or are they just making another game as a service, So I'm intrigued because I honestly think like with what we get with Halo Infinite will inform us about their direction for first party moving forward. I kind of feel like because now we're heading into the time now where it's truly Phil's spread, right? The
Well,
post
yeah,
might.
yeah. And speaking of Phil, he just put out a tweet 2 minutes ago, Jez.
All right.
Very interesting. Basically says, just finishing our final E3 rehearsal here with the team in Redmond. Feel real good about the briefing. Lots to show. We have 14 Xbox Game Studio games in the show this year. More first party games than we've ever had in the show. Fun times. Hashtag Xbox E3. So there you go. 14 Xbox Game Studio games.
Oh, what?
I mean, he just tweeted it out. 14. So, yeah,
That's a lot.
that definitely is a lot. Well, it's the Halo Infinite, Master Chief 2, Gears 5, Gears Tactics, that's 4, Ori, that's 5, Bleeding Edge is 6, Forza Horizon 4, 7, Battletoads 8. Tell me out here, Jazz. I'm missing 6.
I don't know, man.
Fable 4. I mean, yeah, the boss has spoken, but Gears 5, they'll obviously have a segment about that. Gears Tactics, I think, is next year. Gears 5, they'll have like a 5-minute gameplay demo, probably announce the multiplayer beta, and maybe even show off the custom Xbox One X console that'll come along with it as well. Because I honestly, like, Gears gets a custom everything, custom controllers, custom consoles, and new IPs, Bleeding Edge, Ninja Theory's new game, I think will be there, and we'll be releasing early 2020. Now, I've said in the podcast before that, I've heard it's a multiplayer combat focused melee brawler, like combat arena game. Think Overwatch meets, Overwatch with melee. There's other people talking about leaks saying that there's also a 4-player co-op story, some sci-fi stuff. I don't know about that. I know the multiplayer thing is legit, so we'll have to see how that unfolds. And Forza Horizon is going to have another expansion. Since there is no other Forza game this year, I don't think we're expecting Forza Motorsport 8, right, Jez?
Yeah, I'm not expecting it. Even though, like, I don't know, there's been some credible leaks recently that it could be there, but I think like if it is there, it's going to be a sort of tech demo, maybe to show off the ray tracing solution they're going to be using next gen, because like they usually use Forza Motorsport as a technical showcase, don't they? And like
Yeah.
if they are doing ray tracing for next gen, in order to facilitate that ray tracing, they're going to need some kind of showcase for it, because it's hard to explain to someone what ray tracing is. You have to see it with your own eyes. It's basically like it's giving your virtual world the physicality that makes lighting look more realistic. The lights bounce off things instead of just having these fake light points that you paint onto the map. The light is a physical presence which bounces and radiates and reflects and stuff like that, and it has such a dramatic effect on the realism of the game. Like yesterday, I saw a video of Quake 2 being given ray tracing, and it looks almost like a modern game just because of that. So if they do show Forza Motorsport, I think it might be part of a technical showcase for the next Xbox.
Right, but we do expect them to show off the new expansion, which Micro Machines, something small, along those lines,
Something small,
like a little small, but like really cool, like what they do last for Horizon 3,
Hot Wheels.
Wheels.
There's
So
gonna be a Hot Wheels like expansion for
yes,
Forza
crazy
Horizon.
fun expansion, but think small, Micro Machines like. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what they do, because Forza
Hot
Horizon,
Wheels, not Micro Machines. It's not Micro Machines. Not that I know.
well, right, but I'm saying think small.
What else is small?
I don't know. Legos? Legos are pretty small.
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know.
Whiskey shot glasses are pretty small.
Yeah, they really are. And then so this is my okay, obviously we know Phil has said there's 14 games on there, right? Like but in my stuff I've written here, I'm gonna continue. And so the way in my mind's eye, like I'm preparing how to end the show. I'm writing the conference. So I end it with a hype piece about Xbox Anaconda, right? Similarly to what they did for Scorpio, you have a trailer. You don't show the box. Obviously, you don't talk about pricing this far out, but you talk about the specs, how powerful it's going to be, how games are going to be transformed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
You don't even in my mind, you don't even really mention Lockhart because Lockhart only exists to be a value proposition. So the only reason
I
you would
don't know, man, because I think like Lockhart could be genuinely better than the X. For a lot of people, Lockhart
sure,
will be the upgrade path. You know.
sure, but if you're not talking about pricing, which is the big thing with Lockhart, if you can't talk about the price, there's really no point to mention it now. Like you mentioned Anaconda and how powerful it'll be, and then next year when you actually show off the stuff, it's like, oh, there's a cheaper system, blah blah blah. But that's just me, right? But then Phil comes out and was like, we want to show you what we're working on. They play that trailer, and it was like, that sounds good. I'm really excited about the next generation of consoles, but I didn't want people to go home without seeing what next generation looks like. Roll the trailer, and it's a trailer for Playground Games' next title, Fable 4, whatever it's called, and how it looks on Xbox Anaconda to give people a taste of what next generation can bring and what one of Microsoft's biggest studios is making outside of Forza Horizon to get people super excited. That is how I would end the show. Jazz?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be really cool, wouldn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
shouldn't I be in charge of this stuff?
Yeah, I think so, man. I don't know.
Phil, DM me, Mike, anybody listening? I can come up with better stuff than Xbox One S all digital edition. You don't really got to pay me a lot, you know. I'm there. I can do this stuff pretty good. So yeah, so that's our preview. Anything else you want to add? I know you said in your prediction in your own article that you've heard that there won't be necessarily exclusives like next gen exclusives at for a while, right?
Well, I've reworded that paragraph because some people took it a little bit more to heart than I wanted to put across. Basically, I know that Microsoft is working on a new development platform called Windows Core OS. I don't know if it's going to be ready for Xbox Scarlet's launch. There is since I wrote that, there has been some indication that it might be ready for launch, which is annoying. But the next Xbox will support the current Xbox One development platform because it has to, because that's how you get backwards compatibility. As a result of it having the current Xbox One architecture, I think there is like Microsoft has the tools to make it so none of their games are exclusive to next gen. Now, some people have took that to mean like the old consoles will be holding back the new consoles. That's not the case because Microsoft has tools to scale their games up and down very, very easily to different devices, and that's the whole point of their development. Their development ethos is people can play everything wherever they want, and for me, that must include last gen too. So that's an assumption I'm making. It's not necessarily a leak, which I put in a disclaimer at the top of the article, but there you are.
Right. Now, I didn't mention this in my video about studio acquisitions. Because I feel there won't be, so that's why I didn't mention it. And it's not that I know there won't be. I don't know like any studio acquisitions. Like, I don't have any info about that. Like, I just get this sense that they won't have any this year. Because in my opinion, you need to have a couple to form a segment. Obviously, last year they had 5, so it made sense. So if they have one new studio, I'm not sure you have like a segment dedicated to that. So I just kind of feel like they won't announce anything new. I mean, do you have any kind of read on like new studio acquisitions, Jez?
Well, I do know that they are building at least one new studio, but
Oh,
they are building it. They
so
are not.
it's an internally built new studio like the Initiative,
Mm, kind of.
kind
I
of.
don't. I don't know if it's going to be like a sort of brand like the Initiative, but they are building. They are going to build and brand a new studio for Xbox soon. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be ready for E3. I think it might be a little bit after E3, but that's not an acquisition, I don't think. So there's that, I guess.
Well, that's pretty interesting. A new studio built internally. Kind of
Xbox Studio, sure.
yeah, Xbox Game Studio. Trying to be interested in seeing what that turns out to be, because it does seem like the Initiative, the team that they're building from the ground up, they're acquiring a lot of really good talent for whatever they're working on. And with Phil saying they have 14 Xbox Game Studio games to show, I wonder if they'll like do like a quick tease of that. Like, because even when I think of like, okay, you think of 14, and we ran through it: Halo Infinite, Master Chief Collection, Gears 5, Gears Tactics. Even though like Gears Tactics is made by Splash Damage, it's not a studio, but it's like they would consider that an Xbox Game Studios game, right?
Yes.
All right, so that's 4. Ori would be 5. Bleeding Edge would be 6. Forza Horizon 4 would be 7. Battletoads would be 8. If they show Sea of Thieves again, that would be 9, which they might or might not. It's like, well, you still got like 5 more. Maybe there's some other like Xbox global publishing stuff that we don't know about that are under wraps. Maybe they show off Fable, which would count. Well, the Outer Worlds would probably. Well, is Outer Worlds? So this is where it kind of gets confusing. Was the Outer Worlds count as an Xbox Game Studios game?
It's sort of like halfway, right? Sort of like halfway.
But I'm just curious. Like, they say 14. Outer Worlds is going to be there. Does Outer Worlds count as an Xbox Game Studios game?
Ooh.
That's what I'm kind of saying. Are they getting a little tricky a little bit with like the nomenclature? Does it count?
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean?
I would expect them to be counted that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be another one. Maybe, maybe they do like, because the Initiative was recently at Microsoft for whatever, like a few of the guys were there. Maybe they do some sort of like update on the game they're making. I don't know. But it's definitely really exciting. Like, you come out and you say there's 14 games, better deliver on that, Like, I don't think when people think that, I don't think they're thinking, well, Sea of Thieves count as one. They're thinking 14 new ones. And then Thanaros in chat says Wasteland 3. Well, if
Well, I know about Wasteland 3. Like, I asked Xbox PR if Wasteland 3 was going to be at E3, and they said we're not publishing E3. We're not publishing Wasteland 3. Please hit up Deep Silver for that. So, but again, it's kind of like maybe just because Xbox PR isn't working with them yet for Wasteland 3. It's still a Microsoft IP now. Wasteland is officially owned by Microsoft, and so it's a weird, isn't it? You don't know. Maybe
that's the thing. It's like does it count? Does Wasteland 3 count? Does Outer Worlds count? I mean, because Outer Worlds is published by Private Division, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm just curious. I'm just really curious to see what the 14. Phil, I'm gonna be keeping track. You better have 14 there, and a lot of people are gonna be like, they're expecting 14 something new. Like, I'm sure most people will be like, I don't include Sea of Thieves in that, but I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, they think 14, they're like, that's 14 new stuff, which Halo Infinite would be new, like yet to be released games technically, right? Like, it looks technically games that aren't out yet. But they still could do. Forza Horizon would count because it has an expansion. It'll be there, and potentially Sea of Thieves if they tease that. So pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Phil to drop that megaton.
Megaton.
Yeah, use megaton. So you know what? Let's answer the tariff thing, shall we?
Oh, the tariff thing. Yeah. Oh god, this is a
Because this
mess.
could have major ramifications for the future of video games and especially the consoles here, not only for Xbox but for PlayStation and Nintendo. Because all the consoles are made overseas, China, Taiwan, and those places. But
I
our
don't know if
president,
Taiwan's included in those tariffs.
yeah, our president is thinking about imposing a 25% tariff on the consoles, which,
Woo!
if you follow
Woo!
business, uh, the businesses never eat the costs. They will pass the costs on to the customers. So, a $500 console, if Microsoft and Sony have to pay tariffs on that, well, they're going to make those consoles more expensive. Or maybe they don't make it as powerful because they have to sell it at a certain point.
Yes.
What do we think about this, Jazz? One, is this going to happen? And two, if it does happen, how destructive would it be
I don't
for
think
next
it's,
generation?
I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen because I don't think even Trump is that crazy for one thing. And you know, you're gonna have a massive backlash from Microsoft, who are a massive company, you know. And Microsoft might just turn around and say, okay, well, we're gonna charge the US military an extra 25% to offset these costs. You know, they could do that, you know. And stuff and I'm not saying they get away with it, but I'm just saying like I don't think Microsoft would take that lightly, you know. And the idea is that you bring I mean, I get the sentiment is that he's trying to bring some more of that manufacturing back to the US. That's the idea. But the problem is it's not just the manufacturing, it's the rare earth minerals, which America has none of. You have to import that stuff from either Africa or China. You're importing it from somewhere, you know. And China has become so big in the tech space because it has this special economic zone where because it's a communist country, right? But they have a special economic zone which is operated in a more I'm no expert by any means, but they have a more capitalistic zone where all the tech companies live and all the manufacturers live, and they are allowed to trade outside of China and bring the money back to China. Now, that system of half communism, half capitalism has turned China into a global superpower, you know. And you can argue whether that's fair or not. And it has created European and American manufacturing in a lot of ways, but it has also flooded the world with innovative cheap technology. Like America and Europe could have developed smartphones without China. They could have developed ray tracing GPUs without China and stuff like that. But it would have been way more expensive and it would have been slower. So without that aspect of the tech industry, um, without China being in it, that is going to not just affect consoles, it's going to affect phones, TVs, everything with rare earth minerals in it. And, you know, even weird stuff. Like, I mean, you can turn over pretty much any product you've got in the house and it'll say made in China on the bottom. Like, I'm looking for like made in China on this bottle of American bourbon that I've got right here, you know. But it's complicated, you know. And like, I hate Trump, you know, it's no secret. But I also sort of get the sort of almost animalistic logic to what he's trying to do. He's trying to get a better deal from China, and he's trying to do it in the only way he seems to know how is aggressively, you know, aggressively. And like China will like they could respond in kind by burying Apple, you know, because Apple relies on China's industry for its phones and stuff like that. But Huawei, for example, US is attacking Huawei. Huawei doesn't rely on America so much. They can make their own version of Android. I mean, they'd struggle without some of the microprocessors and stuff like that. It's so complicated, man. But I would like to hope, at least for you guys, that this doesn't come to pass, you know?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see if it actually does or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about all this. Like, it definitely would hurt the industry if it did. But I don't know. I think most of it is kind of just like veiled threats, really.
It's super complicated, because like China also owns like billions of dollars of US debt. Like they bought up all the US debt as well in a strategic way. So you can't like you can't fight this sort of intricate system without there being casualties. And unfortunately, the casualties won't be the rich people. It'll be people like you and me, the people who are scraping by, and we'll have to pay more for consoles and stuff like that. But honestly, if this trade war keeps getting worse, consoles are going to be the least of people's problems. They're going to be the last of people's problems.
True. All right, guys. So that'll end the show proper. We'll take a couple questions and then we will get out of here. We don't want Jez to get too drunk. So if you enjoyed the show, hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe if you're new. Follow Jez on Twitter. But yeah, hit us up. Give us some questions. And I see the first one here is Satin Sun 56693. Rand, what do you think the specs of the next Xbox Anaconda are going to be? I mean, I don't know. Current rumors that's what 11.1 teraflops.
Yeah, I don't know about the specs much. I mean, there's some rumor going around now that AMD just accidentally leaked the specs and it's going to be Navi architecture or something.
I mean, yeah, like Navi and like all the other Zen 2 stuff was kind of, talked about forever. But I mean, we might find out at E3, so we don't have long to wait. And I'm sure, with the dev kits being out there, the official specs will come. Like,
Yeah.
you'll just have to wait for it. Thanero says, what about the Playful Corp rumor? Those are the people that make Super Lucky's Tale. I didn't know if there was a rumor that they were buying them. I mean, a lot of people say Xbox do need to buy a like family-friendly kind of developer, and they would make that. I mean, I like Super Lucky's Tale. Wasn't really anything special. So, Carl wants to know, what are your other hobbies besides gaming? Since you're in a gaming funk and might help to take a break. I mean, obviously, I do YouTube as a hobby, which I enjoy doing, and yeah, sometimes, I was in a YouTube funk for a bit, and then I got out of it, and I really enjoy making videos. Um, I don't know. Like my hobbies are basically the video games. Like that's like my TV shows. Like I watch like some Netflix stuff and some HBO stuff.
Yeah.
I've been watching more of that recently because I am in a funk, so I've kind of increased like some of the stuff I've watched. But yeah, those are the stuff kind of I like to do. Game Players wants to know, Jez, do you think Microsoft charging 2 subscriptions is wrong? No other service does that.
I don't know. I think we've talked about this before on the show, right? Where maybe Game Pass is more like a transition to retire Xbox Live, and Game Pass Ultimate will eventually replace Xbox Live, maybe. I think like I do think the current system is clunky. I think we could see some changes in the future on that. Like it's hard, because like these things cost money. These services, xCloud and stuff like that, cost money. And like on Netflix, for example, you get like 2 streams if you pay on the lower tier. You get 4K and 4 streams if you pay on the higher tier. Like there's like higher tier stuff. But like with all the Xbox games coming to Steam now, it's sort of like the whole proposition of Xbox Live is starting to feel old fashioned. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see when they, give their plans out for Game Pass on PC and stuff like that. What else we got here? Any other questions? Any rumors on the changes to Xbox controller or keep with what works? I'm sure there'll be slight changes. I can't imagine it changing drastically. So I do expect there'll be some changes.
Yeah, I think like the most obvious thing to include on a future Xbox controller generation is a share button. Switch has it, PlayStation has it, and it's really great, And considering Microsoft's all about engagement and sharing, social sharing, and all that stuff, I would think they need that.
Oh, and James, since you're listening, I don't know if you're listening right now or listening later, anybody on the accessories team, change the view and window back to press and start or start and select. Nobody knows it's window and it's what's the other one? View. I honestly I use the controller every single day. I'm not even sure which one's which. One's view.
It's view is the one with the two squares.
Yes, and
it's
menu.
It's start and select, man.
Right. I'm saying change it back. Change it back to start and select. It was perfect the way it was. It's confusing with the way it is because sometimes when the two little screens pop up in like tutorials, I still sometimes look down at the controller to see which one is the two windows. Start and select. That's all you need. Do it. Like I never should have changed it in the first place. View and menu, I guess. Let's see what else we got here. New Xboxes without a disc drive. Possibly. I mean, I don't know. Like they released the Xbox One All Digital Edition to see if people would buy it. I'm not sure people are buying it, and I can.
James Shields in the chat.
Oh,
James Shields, please add a share button to the controller. Thank you. And also change the name of the buttons back to what was it? Back and start. We don't like view and menu. Basically, is what.
Change it to start and select. It was so much easier then. And I don't know. Will it have a disc drive? I guess it depends on how well this.
It will. It will have a disc drive.
Going.
It will have a disc drive. Come on.
Yeah, maybe a little bit deeper into next gen, they'll release one without a disc drive. But I would think Anaconda and Lockhart will both have a disc drive. We also got a question. Considering how Xbox fails so much, do you think Xbox with the strategy can compete with PlayStation? I think Xbox is just doing what they think is the best for themselves and their customers. I don't think they necessarily look at it as competing with PlayStation. Microsoft has always said that their competitors are Google, Amazon, Tencent. So I think they look at them as competitors, not necessarily PlayStation.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my read on the whole situation. Yeah, so you know what? I think that is where we're going to end the show for today. Really appreciate all your questions. We had like 630 people watching at our highest. Make sure you guys hit the like button. If you're watching later, hope you guys enjoy the show on Google Play or iTunes. The links are in the description if you want to listen to it there. Jez's link to Twitter, where he tweets all amazing things, and you can find all of his articles in the description as well.
Ignore Rand.
Ignore Rand. We appreciate everyone being here.
I've been like super tired this podcast too. It's just been. I got up at 6 this morning. I went to bed at like 4, and just sort of like passed out in bed and in a really uncomfortable position. But hopefully, when we podcast, we will do a podcast on Wednesday.
One more week, because you're going to be gone E3 week. So we got one more before E3. Hopefully, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Love doing the show. Love doing the show with Jez. Love seeing the everybody in chat being super positive, not starting fights. I see Jez laying the smackdown on some people, but it is what it is. Hope everybody has a great rest of the week, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Xbox 2 podcast. Later, guys. Have a good one.
Hugs.